In this video, we're going to talk about creating an exceptional pre-order experience for your customers on Shopify. So why is this important? Well, it's ensuring customer satisfaction for your shoppers who, they're putting their money down ahead of time before they get anything, and pre-orders can take weeks or they can take months or even longer than that. So ensuring satisfaction, building trust. So this is more on the front end, but making sure people trust you and your brand and your store enough to actually pre-order in the first place. They kind of inherently, and with pre-orders, there's a bit of uncertainty built into the whole process. So building trust is a great thing to shoot for when setting up your campaign. And then also you can actually, when done well, you can give customers an insider experience, so it kind of feel like they're behind the curtain with your brand, and they're helping you and being more of an insider. And then what's at stake in terms of a bad pre-order experience? Well, customer frustration's the top one. People, especially if they put down their money and they don't know when something's going to arrive, or if lead times blow out and you don't communicate that properly to customers, that can be a real source of frustration. And then that, of course, can lead to cancellations of pre-orders, and then an increased customer service load. So people just emailing your customer support a lot more, asking where is my product, such and such. But thankfully, all of that can be avoided. So in this video, I'll walk you through some essential steps to optimize this whole pre-order experience. We'll go specifically with Shopify, but same rules apply for BigCommerce, Woo, or any of the other platforms. And within that, we're going to focus mainly on setting clear expectations upfront, as well as post-purchase communication. And then we'll also touch on building in flexibility. So a way for you to have a bit of a wiggle room while still keeping customers happy and having a great experience. Okay, so let's jump into it. I'm going to use pre-product today just because that's the pre-order app I run and work on and know best. But a lot of these things I'm talking about, you'd be able to do in other apps or other solutions. And let's split this into two. So we'll talk about managing customer expectations before they pre-order, and then we'll talk about after they've pre-ordered and that kind of period before they actually receive what they've ordered. And starting with then, let's split this into three parts. So I'd say number one, and it's kind of, I would say, pretty much the most important thing with pre-orders, is your shipping statement. So it's when you say you're going to ship to customers. So is it, let's just refresh that. Is it relatively soon, and are you going to be specific, like 73 days in this example? Or are you going to be much more general and give yourself more wiggle room? So 73 days is very specific, so let's do something more like let's say December, and giving ourselves a whole month as opposed to a specific day. That can be very handy if you've got lead times of weeks, months. A lot can change in that time, so we generally recommend that merchants go for a bit more of a vague shipping statement. So that'd be number one. And linking on from that is the rest of the wording around the pre-order. So especially we're talking about the product page, and then we'll also touch on the cart and checkout screen. So those are the kind of three pages that the customers will go through in the pre-order flow. So I'm just on the setup screen of pre-product, this app, and we're going to customize wording. And you can see here we've got we've got the button text, and then we've got a message above it, and then we can also click X, and for pre-product at least we offer some more real estate, like we call it a mini cart, and that'll just give customers more information, that they can communicate more space for that information. Okay, so you can see here we're using dynamic variables. So we're saying shipping in the shipping statement of a listing, which we know is that December date. But you can have a lot more information there, and we're talking about building trust in the introduction. This would be a good place to do that, as well as on the actual button text. And then here we can talk about any deposits or discounts or anything like that. So that would be where you'd put in the button wording there. And then let's actually have a look at what that looks like on Shopify, at least when you click pre-order. So go here, and we can see we'll ship in December. Okay, nice. So it could be early December, could be late December. Either way, you've stuck to your word. And we'll click pre-order, and let's have a look at the cart page. And I'll just get rid of this for simplicity's sake. So you can see that's reflected there using Shopify line item properties. And then on the checkout, it should communicate it as well here. So that's a nice way to communicate to the customer. I mean, they've got 3 opportunities to see, we're definitely shipping this in December. This is not a buy now item. And really just getting the message that this is a pre-order in front of customers in a way that they can't ignore. So that's the front-end communication, so product page, cart page, checkout page. And then the other big thing I want to cover on kind of prep side of things is just how and when to charge. So let's get something. I've just clicked these new titanium sunglasses, and down here we've got different options for charging. So charge later, which is the flow we just had a look at, that's taking the customer through checkout straight away, but not actually charging them anything until you're ready to ship or until you trigger the charges. And that's a really handy way to go about things, because customers are a lot more likely to give you leniency and patience when you haven't taken any money up front. So later on down the line, your stock will come in, you'll trigger charges, the charges will succeed or they won't, and if they succeed, you'll ship it off to the customer. And like I just mentioned, the great thing about that is no money changes hands until right at the end when you're ready to ship. Now that's great, but you might want to get a little bit more skin in the game from a customer and have assurances that, you know, their card definitely works and you've definitely taken some money. So if they decide not to go through with it, you can take this kind of non-fundable deposit. So you can select deposit up front here, and we can do a fixed amount or we can do a percentage. That can be quite handy if you've got kind of different variants of a product and maybe they vary in price a lot. Deposit percentage can be nice for that. And then finally charge up front, which is, I'd say, the most common kind of pre-order. And this is great for cash flow because you get the money up front. Slightly less good if you're unsure about when your product will actually be ready to ship, as you're taking, you know, customers' money straight away. So you'll probably pick one of these depending on your situation, but those are the kind of lines of reasoning I'd go through before choosing the charge type. And let's just look at one pre-order listing in the wild. So this is Amigo Provisions, which is a company out of States that we work with, and they've opted for a cleaner approach, just having the pre-order button text. And then you can see here they've got the information. So they're saying that you can grab a 40% discount if you pre-order, and you just have to pay an $8.85 deposit today. And then they've also added in a shipping statement in mid-September, so not too specific, but definitely gives you a fairly accurate idea of when it's going to come. And then you click pre-order, you can see shipping statement again, and I believe on the checkout you get once more. Yep, deposit-based pre-order. So 3 different touch points, and that's for a deposit listing, just set up a little bit differently to our test store. Okay, so now let's move on to touch points after the customer's pre-ordered. So straight away they'll receive a email. So this is a kind of screen of rough email flows for charge later pre-orders in this case. And if we click in here, this is a really good place to just remind them of the shipping statement and it also gives them somewhere that they can get back up and see what that shipping statement was and when they should expect to receive the pre-order, as well as an order summary, and also this link here. So this is a customer portal link, and Shopify lets apps like pre-product actually load pages into your proper store URL. So it's not taking a customer to a page we own, it's taking them to your store, which is really great. But what this customer portal link does is it takes them to their own special pre-order page, and it will show them when the product's going to ship. It'll let them cancel, and also let them add notes to the pre-order. So let's have a look at what one of those looks like, and I'll just get a test one for myself. So customer portal link, and this is just the URL that that email would take them to. And you can see here it's just a list of their pre-orders, and if we click edit order, there's an option to add that note or cancel a pre-order as well. So that's pre-order portals. And then the other touch point I want to look at is, where are we? Right at the beginning. Thank you, and order status pages. So this is the Shopify page for where customers will be sent to whenever they click through checkout, they complete it, and they pre-order. They'll get taken to an order status page. And the great thing about this is Shopify actually just released support for customizing that page, so adding special messaging, allowing other apps to add little blocks into. It's currently only allowed on Plus, but I'm guessing that's going to roll out to everyone else pretty soon if it hasn't done already. So let's have a quick look at one of those pages, and there's something else you can do from there as well, which I'll show you. So we go to this one, and quick tip, you can always get to a customer's order status page by going to their order, and more actions, view order status page. Okay, so we can see that's just a generic page without any customizing or anything like that. But you can see they can get back in here, and again, they can just make sure that they're happy that they did pre-order it. They didn't just imagine it, it is still coming. And the extra ability pre-orders have is when the pre-order comes due, they can actually pay off the payment here. And the great thing about that is you might trigger the charge and it might fail, and that might be because their card's expired or they got a new card. Well, if you send them this link, they can actually, the option will appear here, they can actually check out and pay the pre-order off using a different card. So that's a really nice link, and we actually include it in our email campaign, I think, because it's just the best kind of user interface for changing cards. So that is before a customer's pre-ordered, and then after they've pre-ordered, some best practices around keeping them happy throughout the pre-order campaign. So the main points were, before a customer pre-orders, it's your storefront communication, it's the shipping statement, so how specific you want to be, and then it's how and when you charge, so whether you're charging everything up front, everything later, or a mixture with deposits. And then after the customer's pre-ordered, it's just making sure you keep them communicated with, and you can do that through the email campaign, so the pre-order email campaign, and then the pre-order portal, and lastly that thank you page which we just looked at from Shopify. And if this video was helpful at all, of course I'd love a like or subscribe below, and if you're interested in setting up pre-orders in your store, I'll put a link in the description to a 7-day free trial to pre-product, so you can test out and experiment with everything we've just been through today. Cool, thanks.